And every week or every time we meet, I'll record and then I'll put it up on YouTube for those of you if you're sick or something like that, or you just aren't a fast enough typer to keep up with us when we do assignments. While I'm talking, I'm pretty informal, so if you have something to ask or I need to slow down or whatever it is, you have a question, just turn your mic on and say, "Hey, Doug, what about this?" Also, every once in a while, I'll ask a question. I'd appreciate it if somebody answers, so I'm not here. I know I'm not here alone. Okay. Okay. So today we got a bunch of house cleaning or housekeeping stuff. I want to go over the course, how it's imperative that you know how this course works and how Blackboard works in my classes anyway. Been doing this a long time, and the stuff I have you do, there's a reason behind all of it, your success being the biggest one. So that's what we're going to do today, and then we'll write one program. It's very simple. It's one of the homework assignments. There's three programs to write this week. We're going to write one in class to give you kind of a heads up, and we'll talk more about that as we go through all the stuff for the course. All right. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. So you'll see it should pop up here. Okay, and so, all right, let's go over here. All right, somebody, are you seeing my screen? That's the first question here.
Yeah,
I can see the page.
All
I
right.
see it.
Okay, so this is the announcement page. I had posted this stuff and that. Our class will always be, unless I get kicked off Zoom or something, this will be where you'll always meet at this same URL that's on the front page here. It's also the same place where if you want to come to my office hours, same place, same Zoom page. I'm here an hour before I get here at noon. So I'm here an hour before your class starts. Plus, I have 5 other office hours throughout the week that you're free to come to. But this is just the basic landing page. If you need help, student services is available. If you have any type of disability or that, you can contact these people over here, and they can facilitate that for you. Okay. Get back here, 1921 or 29. COVID stuff doesn't really apply to us unless you go into ICC. If you need, in other words, if you don't have a computer or something and you need to go use, there's 2 open labs at ICC, one at the North Campus up on University and the other one over in East Peoria. So if you have to go to there, then you got to live by these COVID rules. The 2 open labs, they're listed here, East Peoria hours and the Peoria campus. This H here on this address in Peoria means Hickory, because once you get into that parking lot there, all the buildings are named like for trees or something like that. Okay. This is just a printout of the details on the course. It's an ABCDF class, 3 credit hours. When is it scheduled for? The meeting dates, when they run, uh, all that kind of stuff. Okay. A little description of the course, the book we're using, refund dates and withdrawal dates. So that's all in there for you. This is my contact information. Basically the only way to get, the best way to get a hold of me anyway, is through email or come to one of my office hours or in class. Here's the office hours again. There's 6 of them listed there. Monday, it's noon to 1. Tuesdays, 11 to noon. Tuesdays also from 3 to 4. Wednesdays, noon to 1 before your class. Thursdays, 11 to noon and 3 to 4. And again, those office hours are through Zoom. Okay, intro. There's some, these are videos that you can watch, okay, on certain things. Um, I mean, it's up to you. I made them a couple of years or semesters back, so you have to assimilate the information in them. Okay, so for example, this one here, and then so it just goes over just how the course works and stuff like that. But we're going to do that today also. So syllabus and definition. Definition of a college credit officer. These are the federal guideline. What you really needs to, the important part is right here. Your learning is based on evidence of student achievement. That being said, if you were to withdraw from the class for any reason and the administration contacts me um, and asks when was the last day you attended, it'll be based on what you turned in. Okay. So if they ask me, well, when was the last day um, they came, I'll say, well, by evidence of student achievement, the last day they came was when they turned this program in, for example. So, I mean, just coming to class and sitting there and doing nothing is not evidence of student achievement. This is the college's syllabus for the course. This is what you're supposed to be learning, and we will surpass this because we'll go on past single level arrays into multidimensional arrays and classes and objects. We'll start out um, not doing object, we'll be start out with procedural level programming, and then we'll move into object oriented programming later in the class. You got to learn the one before you can learn the other. The text and software, okay. The required text for this class is this book here. It's not only used for this class, but the following 2 Java classes that we offer. Okay. And then as far as software goes, it's down here. If you click, you need Java first. You install the Java on your computer from Oracle. And if you have a basic Windows computer, it's this one right here. If you have a Mac, I would use probably this one right here. I don't know a lot about Macs, so you're kind of on your own there. But this one right here is what I use in mine. So you got to do the Java first. You install that first, okay? Then you come down here and you go to NetBeans, Apache, and this is the one you install here, number 12. Click on that, and you should be good. This one needs to be able to find the Java in your program for it to work, okay? So if you don't do them in that order, um, it gets a little more complicated, to say the least. Any questions so far? Anybody still there?
Yep.
All right.
I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Okay, so that's what you need to install if you haven't already done so.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you know which one I should use for Chrome OS? I
Yeah,
have
this
one at home, but currently I'm on Chrome.
yeah, Chrome it would be under the Windows.
Okay.
So the ones here are perfect. That's what I'm running. I run Chrome all the time.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, it's not a Chrome book.
It's a Chrome box.
By
currently.
that,
Yeah.
you use Chrome for browsing, or is
Uh,
it
it's
an Android?
like the operating system is the same as a Chromebook. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that, I don't think.
Okay.
You need a full computer.
Yeah, and I have one at home, but currently where I'm at, I'm on my Chromebook, so I
Okay.
can. It yeah.
All right. Text. Okay. General course information. This is all the housekeeping stuff. I own all this stuff. Belongs to me, except for the book itself and ICC's webpage and that. Name and class requirement. If you email me, you need to put this in the subject line of your email. I have nearly, almost 100 students. I don't know your names and whatever. So you have to tell me because you're, I have 3 different Java 1 classes this semester. So you're not all going to be in the same spot. So if you ask me a question and I don't have a reference to how to answer that question, I can't answer it truthfully. So I won't. Okay. There are academic support out there. If you're having trouble, you click on that link and they can help you uh, get a hold of somebody. You can get a live chat, get online tutoring, a limited amount of that. Okay. The key in this class is not to fall behind. Do not procrastinate. The catching up once you're behind is very, very hard. Just warning you. You need to commit. Um, well, as we get down there, let's see. I think I got it here. Well, so, and again, here's the office hours again. Contact expectations are if you email me or that, I'm going to get back to you. Uh, you know, if you email me at night, you're probably not going to hear from me till the following morning. But I'm not, trying to hide from you or anything. If I see it in there, I'm going to get back to you. Okay, as soon as I can. Just hang in there. Um, Other things you can do to get help is that you can, of course, use Google. That's what I do when I need help. YouTube is a good source. Just be careful what you use, because how I require you to do this stuff may not be the same exact way they would do it. Okay. So you still got to follow our rules, even if you look it up online. The other thing is that you can call a peer or one of the people in this class. You can email everybody in this class. If you go to email, you go in here, okay, you can email everybody. If you say all users, that includes me. So we're going to have a party. Let's invite everybody, including Doug. You click that one. Let's have a party and not include Doug. You can do the student user one. Hey, let's do this one. Let's invite Doug to a party, but nobody else show up. And then this one down here is, hey, let's have, I just want to get a hold of Bob, Mary, and Tom. Uh, I can do that. Okay. So my one of the things you'll be doing this week is a biography of yourself posted in the portfolio and or I'm sorry, in your discussion board. And the reason for that is here, okay, you want to post to this a small biography of yourself. You want to meet as many people as you can in the class. The Over the years, I've been doing this 30 years. The more people you know in the class, the better the success rate of you in this class. Because then you have somebody you can ask questions to. You can't, there's a fine line though. You can't copy, but you can get advice. Okay. You can't say, hey, can you send me? I couldn't do mine. I was out drinking last night. Can you give me a copy of your program? That'll get you kicked out of the class. Okay. So due dates. Your class is a Monday, Wednesday, so you get 8 days. I'll post the homework assignment before the next Monday, the new one. You already have one up there that started already, and it's due before. See, are you guys at 9 o'clock in the morning? I forget. Let's see here what it says. I think you're at 9 in the morning. Yes. So it's due next Monday at 9 in the morning. Okay. So you'll have 8 days to to work on it, and you'll have 2 days of class time to ask questions also. So that should be plenty of time to turn your stuff in. Any questions on that? I got this as 11:59. That's
I
wrong.
do not have an Oracle account for Java, so I was going to
Yeah.
create an account
Yep. That's
and
what
it
you have to do.
has job title, work phone, company name, and all that other fun stuff. Do I put that in for ICC?
You can put whatever you want there. It doesn't matter to them.
Okay.
9. Oh, that one wasn't right. That's not the one I wanted to change. This one is 9 a.m. That's good enough. All right. Yeah, you have to have the software. So, however you need to get it, that's what. So, if Oracle wants you to have an one-time account, that's what I would do.
So every assignment is always going to be due at 9 a.m. on Mondays.
Yeah, unless it's something that later on in this, and usually you'll have three programs, okay, to do. Um, as we get through the semester, the programs get bigger, and then possibly you'll only have two to do, or something like that. Or I might give you 2 weeks to do it instead of 1 week. Just depends on the size of the program. Again, the time commitment. Um, let's talk about that again. On that federal guideline that was out there. Where is it again? Okay. If you were to read this, a minimum of 2 hours out of class a week. So you're supposed to be in class, okay, um, for this class, 2 lecture hours and 2 lab hours a week for 4 hours. And then, so 2 hours for every one of those hours would be another 8. So that would be 12 hours. I say 10 to 12. It depends on your typing speed, reading speed, all that. But that's your commitment per week. Okay. So the deal is this, that might sound, so it's under 2 hours a day. Okay. How do I recommend to do that? I recommend you do the hour and a half to 2 hours a day. Do not try and do this, especially when we get going here with the bigger programs. You cannot come in or on Sunday night and be able to write these programs. It's very similar to if I was teaching you Spanish, which way would you think would be a better way to learn it? Would be practicing an hour and a half a day or practicing 6 hours before um, our class on Monday, all at one big block. Which one do you think you're going to learn more doing? Well, I would argue that you're going to learn more by practicing it every day. Okay. And that's what I'm saying here. The scenario is this: you either love this stuff or you don't. If you want to have a career in programming, you better love this stuff. The guys I've hired in the past that work for me love this stuff. I mean, literally to the point where I'll leave at night and come back the next morning and they'll still be there, or I'll have to send them home so they can take a shower because they stink. Okay. They treat it more like a game. If you're a big game person, And, you know, you can't quit after you lose the first time. If you're trying to solve something in a game, chances are, hopefully, you're not going to win the game the first time you ever go in. You're going to get killed a few times or whatever, lose a few times before you master it. And that's kind of like here. Um, you know, you're going to have problems at first. You're not always going to get 100. By the way, most of the programs you do for me are worth 10 points apiece. So I start out with 10. Um, you know, you got something wrong, you might get a 9.3, whatever. The whole deal is that at the end, all I do is I total the points. And depending on how many points you have, whatever percentage of the points available it is, that's the grade you get. We'll talk about that more in a minute. So any questions on that? Once stuff is due, you're going to put it in your e-portfolio. I'm going to show you how to do that. Contacts, again, I'm going to try and get back to you as soon as I can. But I am telling you there's other resources just than me. I'm probably a little bit sure that some of you have programmed before. Well, you can't use any of it. You can use it in your head, but you can't use it in your programs. So I have this knowledge leveling convention. And all that means is in your program, you cannot use anything that I have not introduced in the class. So that means if I tell you you have to print a certain statement 5 times, you cannot put it in a loop until we cover loops or repetition. There's a lot of the stuff you're going to learn early on. There's better ways and quicker ways to solve it. But unless you've been introduced to it in the class specifically, you can't use that knowledge. Okay, because we have some people that have never programmed before, so we're all going to start out at the same point. So just be aware of that. If I get stuff turned in that you're beyond what you were allowed to use, I'll send it back to you and tell you to redo it. Class participation, it's a wide range of things. Like again, if somebody contacts you and you give them a little help and that person emails me and says, hey, Doug, I contacted Dylan today and he helped me out. I keep that in mind when I award the class participation grades later on. If I notice that, oh, this guy here never comes to class or his stuff is always late, that kind of thing. This is kind of a rehash of the if you don't turn stuff in, that kind of stuff. Um, Non-attendance, you know, if you're gone more than 4 classes, 2 a week for 2 weeks or that's an eighth of the class that you've been gone. Yeah, probably not a good thing. So I'm really going to start wondering, you know, what's going on. Okay. Very seldom will this kick into late work penalties unless you're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. I believe me, I don't want to give out zeros or F's or whatever. My job is to get you through the course while you're learning something. Okay. So just that scenario. I don't give grades, late grades on discussions like the biography, because once everybody's done, they're not going to come back and read yours. I also don't give incompletes and stuff like that. Stuff like the dog ate it, my computer crashed, my homework disappeared, was stolen in the car. Okay, so redo it. It's basically the scenario. Save it in 2 different spots. My grading is 93 to 100 is an A, 85 to 92 is a B, 77 to 84 is a C. Anything under 70 is an F. Withdrawals allowed during the college's prescribed time. There are no incompletes. I don't give incompletes unless there's a nuclear explosion or something. Why are these grades higher than other people's? It's just a subjective thing. I could lower that and then just grade harder, I guess. Percentage in Blackboard grader. There's only two things. When you look at Blackboard, there's a page. Let's see, where's it at? My grades. Click on it. Looks something like this. There'll be some goofy numbers up here sometimes or that. All you care about is over here by the /10, for example, that you have a number there. That's one thing you want to know. Two, is my number a good number or a bad number? In other words, if I'm getting 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, even 8 out of 10 sometimes, that's not a bad thing. If I'm getting anything lower than that, I probably should get a hold of my instructor. If you're getting a 1, if I give you a 1, it doesn't mean you failed it particularly. It just means you didn't do what you were supposed to do and you need to redo it. And usually I'll give you some guidelines on why. Okay. And of course, if you get a 0, that means you just didn't turn it in. And it doesn't take many zeros to get you into serious trouble. And last one, why did you give me a grade? I don't give anybody a grade. You earn the grade, and that's the points you're going to get. The trick here is to get as many points as you can. I do have a few, very few, limited extra credits throughout the semester. You'll be happy to hear I don't give midterms or finals. By that, I mean, I want to see that you can program. So by midterm, you should be programming at a certain level. And as we get to the end of the course, I'll give you a bigger program, which will serve as my insight into what you should get for a final grade. Okay. So it'll be worth more than a normal 10-point grade. This is how you submit stuff, and I'm going to go over that in an actual example. I would store stuff on your OneDrive, and I'm going to edit this for you because it shouldn't say Google Drive, it should say OneDrive. You're provided a OneDrive. If you go to your ICC, I can't even get into here, hang on. Into your ICC email account, over on the left-hand side, you'll see some tiles. And if you click on it, it'll open up and one of them will say OneDrive. Well, that's a cloud where you can save stuff out in the cloud. Best reason to do it that way is you can get to it from anywhere. I don't care if you're in Tokyo, Mexico City, wherever you are, you always have access to it. Okay. The problem with removable storage devices is that you can lose them. And since we're not at a ICC right now, you don't have access to your H drive. But I'd say multiple copies. If you have, you can save it on your computer, but I would save a copy on your OneDrive in case something else happens. Doesn't cost you anything. What you should know in this class is everything. Anything we cover. It's not like we're taking a geography class here. And this week we're learning about Illinois. And so you take the test on Monday over Illinois, and then we move on to Wisconsin and forget about Illinois. That ain't how it works. Everything you read here, touch here, supposed to have read here, anything I lecture on, that's all fair game. And I expect you to know it. Okay. Modes of presentation. You guys are an online scheduled. That's our new terminology. So you have a scheduled class that you are expected to participate in. Okay, this is not an online anytime. Blackboard gradebook, I already went over that. You make sure you got a grade and you make sure what it is. And this last one down here is the student handbook. And it talks about what are our expectations as students and instructors, that we have integrity, that we're personally responsible, that we're part of a community, that we're trying to be lifelong learners, and we're going to strive to do an excellent job. It also touches on here in the student handbook on what happens if I catch you doing things you're not supposed to. In other words, academic misconduct. So do we have any questions over the general course housekeeping stuff? Nothing. Crickets. Crickets.
None here.
Okay.
I feel like I learned all that I need to. You do not need help.
Okay, well then the class is, no, I'm kidding. Okay, programming convention. Now these are the stuff that's particular to this, your programming. Everything you submit, I will not take plain text files as a submission. It has to be a NetBeans folder. In other words, you have to do your programs in NetBeans. And then you're going to zip them up, zip the folder. Don't even open the folder. The folder is created by NetBeans automatically. And it contains all the files I need to grade your stuff. Okay. So wherever you save it to, you right click it, send to compression. It compresses it and you put it in your ePortfolio and we're good. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. Every one of your programs must say this at the top. Hang on here. Let me get this straight. You don't need Java docs, so we can get rid of that one there. All right. So at the top of every program, you're right, it's going to say either program or project here. I don't care. And whatever it is. And what it is what it does. You don't put, this is chapter 1, exercise 5. I could care less. There's something your program does, like creates a rectangle, or it's the budget program, or miles per hour, miles per gallon program, anything like that. This is a keyword, but for right now, all it means is what is the name that you're saving your program as, okay? And it'll always end in .java. Next one down is who are you? And unless your name is D. Peterson, you put your own name there. Well, I guess if your name was D. Peterson, you'd put that there. The date you write the program, and what does the program do? Not what are you doing it for, but what does it do? Okay. In other words, it's similar to up here. You don't put down here, this solves lesson 1, exercise 5. Could care less. Okay. Primitive data types, we'll talk about them more, but basically we have things called variables, and it's a name, place, and memory that we store data in, and it may change during program execution. So we're going to assign values to those, and those values have to have a data type. It's kind of like a mailbox, okay? Let me open this real quick. So different types of data need more room to store them in. And you can see here that like a Boolean, which only stores true or false, only needs 1 bit of memory. If you get up here where you have a double, which is any number that has a fraction, okay, it takes 64. So that's like a lot bigger mailbox than the one that's down here that'll only hold true or false. I don't expect you to memorize these per se. Over here, the ranges. Just know that, for example, if you have an integer, a whole number that's over 2 billion, you're not going to be able to store it as an integer. You'll have to go to long. Okay. I'm going to allow you to use for numbers int and double. In other words, I'm not going to make you be as economical as you could be unless you want to be. So any number that are whole numbers, for the most part, unless it's over 2 billion, you can use int for. And any number that has a fraction, I'll allow you to use double for. Boolean, of course, is true or false. Char is any single letter or character. Byte, I don't usually use it. String is anything I don't do math with. Anything. My social security number is a string. It's not a number. I've never done math with my social security number. So it's a string. And the strings, their sizes, it says varies. Yeah, it's about 1 byte or 1 bit per letter in what you're typing out. Okay. And these are an explanation on, this is what you should be familiar with, this down here, instead of going and memorizing all this up here. Okay. So that's what data types are. Grace, my dog's bugging me to go outside. Naming conventions. Now, we're going to have variables and constants. Again, constants are ones that we put in memory that cannot change during program execution, and they're done a specific way. First of all, you in this class, you must use meaningful names. That means I will not allow you to use things like X, Y, Z, A, B, C, single letters for your variable names. Okay. Even if it's in a matrix, you can make it like it says here, X axis, Y axis. Those are meaningful names. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you make up a variable name and you were to walk up to somebody that knows nothing, does not know anything about programming, maybe one of your parents, and you say, hey, how's that bee doing today? And they don't know what bee means, that's not a meaningful. If they says, oh, that's something that was buzzing outside today, probably not what you're looking for. So it has to be meaningful, first of all. Go for readability over brevity. That means over shortness. Methods, we'll talk more about them. Don't worry too much about that. They should be descriptive. Total cost, first name, room area. Those all mean something, okay? Class names, you're not going to worry too much. If it's a constant, in other words, one that doesn't change, it should be in all uppercase. And that's for programmer friendliness. Two types of friendliness that I grade on is, one, is it friendly to the user? Can the user understand what you're doing? And two, can other programmers understand what you're doing? Okay. As far as Java specific, case is sensitive. So something like first name here is not the same as this first name here. You can't start your variable names with a number. In other words, first letter here, you could not do that because it starts with a 1. You'd have to maybe do this one here. Same thing here. You can't put 2012 annual rate. Can't do that. You can't use spaces. And it can't be one of the reserved words that's used in the programming language. Can't use special, do not use special characters. Okay, except for I'll allow you to use an underscore. Okay. But I don't normally even use those. I use what's called camel hump, which is more like this right here. So the first word is lowercase, and then any subsequent word would start with a capital letter. Avoid names that are confusing. Don't use in one part of your program use feet or let's see. Um, I don't know. Don't like use plurals, for example, for something. Dog, use dog in one spot and then use dogs in another spot. Is it legal? Yeah, it's legal. And it's two different variables, but it's going to be confusing. So you try to make them not confusing. Okay. So here's a couple examples here. And when in my class anyway, you declare something like that, shirt and pants, do not, even though it's legal, do it like this. In other words, just put into one time, do them individually, not as a group. Same thing down here with constants. What makes something a constant is not that it's an uppercase, it's a constant because you use the word final in its declaration here. Difference between in programming, we read from right to left. So what this says right here is 0.085 will be assigned to the variable tax rate, which is a double. This one down here says 21 is equal to. So an equal to is two equal signs. So 21 is equal to person's age. And this is a conditional statement. So that's why there's an if in front of it. So it's checking to see if that person is 21 years old. If I put a single if equal sign there, not the same thing. That just means is 21. We're going to assign the number 21 to this variable. Okay. And this is just a link back to NetBeans in the listing up here at the top. So that's the programming conventions. Any questions on those? And again, you'll become familiar with them. Early on, I'll nitpick you if you're not doing them right, and hopefully you'll, lose a point or two. But then you'll adjust, and then your programs will get better and better and better. All right. So again, if you get, everybody's going to get a little bit of something wrong. I mean, I even make mistakes. So anyway. All right. So here's your portfolio. Everybody here should have, check right now and make sure you have a portfolio. And apparently there's some people that don't because I only have 15 names in here. So there's at least one of you that doesn't. But how it works is this. When you're going to submit something, you come here, you click on your name, come over here to File Exchange, comes up, you hit add a file, and type in whatever the name of it is, like sample or rectangle, something like that. And then you go and find your zipped folder, wherever it is, okay? I don't know that I have any here. Here's one here right now. Rectangle, I hit open. It shows it right there. And then I hit submit. Okay. And it's in the portfolio. In this case, it's in her portfolio. But okay, that's what it would look like. But her name would be here that she posted it. All right. And then don't come and say, hey, Doug, can you see my rectangle submission? If you can see it, I can see it. I have more permissions than you do in this program. So if you're seeing it in there, I surely can see it in there. Okay. Let's say that you put it in there and then you decide, I want to change something. I don't want to send that one. Come over here, hit delete, say, yeah, I want to delete it. And that just deletes it. It doesn't delete it on in your file system. It just takes it out of your file exchange. Okay. Send email. I already showed you that. Discussion board. Once again, You go here, you go to biography, create a new thread, and then you type in something like Doug's bio, and then this here, then you type something. So you do that. If you can't spell, type it in Word and spell check it before, and then cut it and paste it in here. Okay. Then you hit submit. Boom, it goes in there. You see that. Then you need to reply to at least 2 of your peers. Okay. So again, I open that one up. I look at it. Oh, look, Doug was an, oh, well, you know what? I want to reply to that because okay. And then I reply to Doug's. And then I find somebody else that I have something in common with and reply to them. All right. And that's worth 10 points right off the bat. So you'll want to get that done. All right. So that's discussion board, grades. I showed you what that's going to look like. So that takes us down here to lesson 1. And if we look in here, these, there's some examples and stuff like that in here. There's also this quiz over the Blackboard stuff. In other words, you were told that you need to go over the Blackboard stuff in that thing I posted prior to class beginning. So you come in here, you hit begin, and there's 11 questions. You must get 11 out of 11. You keep taking it until you do. So here, I mean, here's the question, stuff like, what is usually the best way to get a hold of your instructor? Geez, I don't know. Could it be email? And you hit email. And you come down here, what is required program to use and design your package here? Oh, let's see, any text, no. How about this NetBeans thing? Yeah. The due date for most of my assignments in the course are on, geez. 2 weeks, no, Friday it is. Class that meets on Monday are due on Monday, and classes that meet on Tuesday are due on Tuesday. Yeah, that one's probably right. The receiver apply an email. Put your real name now, send an email through ICC email. Oh, look, all these are true. Federal guidelines, each credit hour in the class. Oh, look, it's another state answer, all the above. To get an A in the class, I think that was like a 93. By the way, if you get a 9, if your average grade is a 92.5, what grade do you think you're going to get at the end?
A B.
No. What do you think? Anybody else?
A B plus?
No, we don't have B pluses.
An A.
You're going to get an A. How about if you get a 92.4?
A B.
Yep, you'll get a B. And then you're going to come to me and go, Doug, that's like, I don't want to save and submit. That's fine. That's like 1/1000th of a point, right? Because it's in percent to begin with, which is 100. And then it's like 1/10 of that. So it's 1/10 of a percent. And you know what I'm going to tell you? You know what? If you would have studied or turned your stuff with, if you had one more point, probably you would have got an A. And that's what I'm going to tell you. Okay. So again, points are worth a lot. Every point you get is to your benefit. So this is the first lesson. It's due next Monday. And you need to read the first Java chapter, da, da, da. When you do your Java program, I'm going to show you, you're going to use Ant. Okay. There's several selections. You want to use Ant. We're going to do 1.9 here in a minute. Okay. You got to do your biography. I told you that. Here's those default sizes again. Short quiz coming. Example of a program with comments and submission and NetBeans folder. I'm going to show you that. These aren't in your class. So that being said, I'm going to write this program. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to NetBeans. I have it down here on my dog is sitting here panting. I don't know why. Go lay down. No, go lay down. So I'm clicking on NetBeans here to open it. Go on, go lay down. Go on. She heard a door, believe it or not, with all that wind last night, she heard a door bang. And so she's been a total idiot since then. Like something's going to get her. And she's a big dog. I mean, it isn't like this is what NetBeans looks like when you first open it. Okay. So I'm going to go to File, New Project. And you see here you have different selections. You want Java with Ant and Java application, like that. You hit next. And sometimes, just so you know, it'll say that you need to install something in between that screen and this screen. Just say, yes, I want to do that. Okay. And we're going to call this, I'm going to call mine anyway. Acme Rectangle. Do not name your program. I don't want to get programs that say application 1, stuff like that. Okay. This one's going to be called Acme Rectangle. And then you hit finish. And the program writes some of the code for you. Kind of looks like this when it starts. And over here is my project window. And I can expand this out here so I can show you. Okay, so that's what it looks like on my screen. First thing I'm going to do is those comments that I said you needed. So I'm going to type in here. And you can put the asterisk in if you want. This is a block comment. It starts with a slash asterisk or a splat, as we call it in Nerdville, and ends with a splat slash at the end. And anything I type in between those will not be read by the interpreter or the execution. Okay. So I'm going to start by just putting project Acme rectangle calculator. And again, I do take off for spelling, by the way. And this will be whatever I named it over here. So that's Acme rectangle .java. Today's date. I don't care what format you use. You could put 20 Jan 2021, or you can just do 1/20/2021. I don't care. Your name as the author. Again, it's not me, it's you. And then the purpose. The purpose is, again, not to solve assignment 1, exercise 9. The purpose is, what is this going to do? And this is going to be a simple program using literals to calculate the perimeter and area of a rectangle. So that's what there you go. So there's my comments that are required. If you don't put those in, you lose points. Then I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this because we're not using, that's for Java docs. You'll learn about that maybe later in a different class. I'm going to move my delete that, move this brace down, and then I'm going to indent this. So again, what I want you to do is see this. I have a brace here and a brace here. That means this class starts here and ends here. This procedure in here, called the main, runs from here to here. And for right now, most of your program or all your program that you want to run basically is going to go in between right where I'm at right now. Okay. Another thing is that in NetBeans, everything for right now needs to be inside your package. And the name of the package is this, the files that are going to go in it. Later in the class, we'll have more than one file in here, but it needs to be inside this package. So to do that, the package line is always the first executable line of code. Okay. So this up here again was a block comment. This is a single line comment. I just put 2 slashes like that, and I can put any comments I want in there. Okay. Again, I'm a big fan of indentation. It's a good thing to learn anyway. If you go on to take Python, there are no it doesn't work like this. It's all based on indentation. And if your indentation isn't right, your program doesn't run right. So, and again, this helps with the indentation, helps with programmer friendliness. So if you get something from me that says your indentation is terrible, the reason you're losing points is for programmer friendliness. Not because it's technically wrong, but it just looks bad. Okay. And it's hard to read. Okay. So we're going to write this program. To print things in Java, we type something like this. It's system dot out dot print line. Print line means I want a carriage return at the end, down to the next line. If I just do that, that means I'm going to stay on the same line and keep going when I print the next time. And there's a use for that later on. Okay. And I'm just going to type here a rectangle with a length of, what was it? Forget, I have short-term memory here. Length of 7.9. 7.9 units. Okay. And always statements end with a semicolon. If you don't have a semicolon, you're going to get an error. And then here's system out print line. And a width. My dog's breath stinks and he's right in my face. You're probably hearing him breathing. Of 4.5 units has a, and then we'll do that. Perimeter of, and then we'll say outside of that, we're going to put 7.9 plus 4.5, and then outside. Multiplication is done with a splat or an asterisk, 2. And another one like that. Oops. And a semicolon at the end. Let's see, what did I miss here? Plus. I got something wrong here. 1, 2. Oh, I only got 1 there. Okay. There, I got 2 on each end now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that ain't right. 1, 2. That's wrong. I can't even read here. 1, 2. Perimeter of, geez. 2 and 2. What do I got wrong? Oh, another one out there. So there's 3. Hello. There we go. So you can see this is pretty picky. In other words, if you make a mistake, and this Java is just a plain text file, okay? The reason we do it in NetBeans is because it helps us correct what is wrong. It shows if something isn't right. If you did this like in Notepad, you could do it, but then you'd have to be perfect and not. So this will be 7.9 times 4.5. And again, I could put that in parens. It doesn't matter, but it makes it more user friendly. And it doesn't hurt anything. Okay. So again, another thing you want to remember is that once you start writing code, you don't just keep writing and writing and writing and then don't check it as you go. You want to try and run your program after you do 1 or 2 lines of code, make sure it runs. Okay. In this case, I didn't. And then I'm going to go ahead here and save. And I hit that and it should pop up here shortly. There you go. Don't worry about all the trailing decimals for right now. We'll deal with that in another lesson. So I'm going to clean it up a little bit more. And just so people that run it know what it is when they run it. And you should probably realize that this isn't very useful. The only rectangles it's ever going to do are ones that are this size. Okay. So unless I'm doing ones that are 7.9 times 4.5, not very useful. Okay. I could also do, let's see, what else do I want to do here? I could do something like this. Linear units. And this one here, B plus. Notice I'm putting a space there, okay? So that it's not right up against the number. And now when I run it, it looks a little bit better. So there it is there. And that would be the solution to program number 2 for this week. Very clean, very indented, etc., etc. So I saved it. So it's saving to wherever I told it. When we first started it, it asks you, where do you want to save to? Well, mine I have set up so it's going to go to the desktop, okay? You can save it to wherever you want on your computer. Okay, just make sure you know where that is. So once I'm done with my program, I can go ahead. I've saved it. I can close it. I go over to my desktop. Oh, look at here, Acme Rectangle. And I don't even need to go inside of it. I can just right click it, send to, compress folder. Boom, there it is. Now, this is what I want to put in my portfolio. So now that I have that there, I can come back over here, go to my portfolio. I'll do it for here. Let's change. I would come here. I'd type in rectangle and then browse my computer. And there it is, Acme Rectangle. Hit open, make sure it's up there. Hit submit. Boom, there it is. And I'm off to the next program. Okay. And then you'll get a grade. You won't get a grade on the first week's lesson until after the first week's lesson period ends. So I will not be grading these until next, you guys' class is on Monday. So I'll start grading your papers on Tuesday of next week. Okay. So that's submitted and then you'll get a grade. Okay. If you ever should not get a grade for some reason, then you just need to email me. You never want to fret about if you do something right and you think something, in other words, you do something and then you say, well, Doug, you took off, da, 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 da. This is the reason I did that. Well, if you have a good reason for why you did something, then you need to stick up for yourself. Say, hey, Doug, can I get, I did it this way because I thought blah, 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 blah. And then I'll take that into consideration. Okay. What else? So that is how you do it. Now, let's go back, though. I want to show you something. Go back to my program. And again, I know I'm going through this pretty quick. Another thing you need to know is like when you start doing programs here, I don't want services. Where's there we go. No, I don't want that either. Where's go away. There, projects. Again, if you get in here and it looks like that, okay, you can expand it like that by, and this is the actual program to bring it up. You just double click on it. Okay. So let's say I'm done with this. I've seen students where they have all the programs they've ever written going down a row here. I prefer just to do this. I go right click here, close, boom. Now I'm ready to start a new program. If I want to get the other one back, I can just go back, open a recent file, Acme Rectangle, boom, there it is. Okay. Why is it saying no project open? That's weird. Very strange.
So what would be the function of something like this that just tells you a fact?
I can't hear you. There we go.
Can you hear me
The-
now?
Yeah.
So what would be the function of something like this that just tells you a fact like this?
You'd never write a program like this in the real world. It doesn't do anything. What we would do in the future, all these numbers, the more literals, these are numeric literals. This right here is an alphanumeric literal. Okay. It's not a number. This here is a numeric literal. We would replace all the numeric literals with variables. So there would have been questions up above here where we say, um, you know, what is the length of your rectangle? What is the width of your rectangle? And then it would calculate those out. You would never in the real world type any or have a program that did this. Okay, this is just to get you going and to show you how to print something. Okay. We also wouldn't do in my class, you never do this. Once you learn how to use variables, we never do the math in the print statement. Okay, I won't let you do that either. It's just not good programming. Would it work? Yeah, it'll work, but we're not going to do it that way. Okay, that kind of help, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, this is very simplistic at this point, and it's just for chapter 1 before you know how to use variables. So the first homework assignment, so there's no misunderstanding, and you do these all in them. You don't put them all together. Each one is a separate one. This is just an example of what I want in the first program where it says a 4-letter word. Okay. So you're going to do this. You're going to do something like system.out.print line. And you might type something like that. Oops, I went outside. And then come over a little bit and you might type an A. Oops. And then come over. So this one's kind of like you're designing. So then you get a V here, and a V here, and then somewhere out here an A. And this takes a little bit of time to get it so it works right. And then I come down a line. And I come over a couple. My A would go here, and maybe here. And then a V.
Bruh, get off the fucking webcam, bro. I can't stand this nigga, bro. We have lives, bro.
Hello? Tristan, you know your mic's on, dude.
My bad.
Let's watch it. And so on. And basically what I'm doing is graphically printing out the word Java. And it is not going to line up right at first. So I'd have to play with it a little bit. Something like that. I don't know. And it has to be good enough that I can read what you're doing. Okay. It might not be perfect. So in this case, I'm just trying to spell out Java. And I'll run it once here just to try it. And my guess will be that it'll be all over the place. See that? So I got way too many spaces in here. I'm gonna have to move all those back a little bit. So I go back to my program and maybe move, let's see what that looks like. And that's too far. So we'll put one more space here, and then I'll move these back to about there and see what that looks like. Or I can add, let's see, that one needs to come back one more. Let's try that. So it's getting there, right? You can kind of see Java in a sense here. This is all freaky out here because of the number of spaces I've got in there. So maybe take 1, 2 there, 1 there, and let's see what that looks like. Of course, it moves everything else. So it takes a little bit, to get it where it's a word or whatever. But as long as I can read what you're doing, and so here I'm trying to spell out the word Java. You pick any word you want. Okay. And of course, all this wouldn't be here. So you can control, see, it'd be like that. Okay. You make a mistake, you can hit that button. If you want to turn this into a comment, in other words, I can turn all that off. It has the double slashes in it. So that's a comment, and I can turn it back on. Sometimes that's useful when we do our coding. Again, this would be indent, outdent. Okay. Run the program is this one right here, or I can go up here and run the project, or I come down here and press the green button. This is save over here, undo. So I can undo all the way back as far as I want to go. Stuff like that. Select something, delete it. Anytime anything red shows up, that's bad. In other words, if I was to come up here and do this, see the red squiggly line? And if I hover over it, it tells me what's wrong. It says it's expecting a semicolon. Well, usually the semicolons normally go at the end like that. Okay. Once in a while later on in the class, you'll program so much or make so many changes, you will need to clean and rebuild the project. And all that does is it goes in and kind of resets everything back to the default. So you'll get the right results if you program it right. But again, this is inside our package. And this is the name of our program. This is what it looks like. These are comments. And when our programs get long, we can do something like this. This is kind of silly here because I can see the whole program. And you'd come down here and you'd put in no code follows. And just put a divider in there. And later on too, we'll put a divider here in front of, we're going to have more than one method later on. And so this one would be the void main. And again, this is all for programmer friendliness. So if you get something like this done, that's definitely 10 points. Any questions? Okay. So if you look at this here again, I showed you how to do the first one, showed you how to do the second one. Third one, you're on your own, but I did give you a hint. If it's done correctly, I will tell you that the answer is right around 11 miles per hour. So if you get anything other than like 11.1, 11.5, you have something wrong in your calculation. You did not calculate it right. So the answer that you should get is here. And again, you're using all literals. You're not using any variables or that at this point. All right. That's my song and dance for today. So I'm going to go back. Stop sharing. And that's it, unless somebody has questions.
Yeah, so I was just wondering when you'll upload today's class.
As soon as it takes my computer probably just under a half hour or that to
Okay.
convert it. And then I have to upload it to YouTube. And then YouTube has to convert it. Now I got something at 3 o'clock today, so it might not get posted until later this evening,
Okay.
but it will be there. Okay. And you'll get an email with a link to that URL. So you'll get an email saying, here's today's class. And I will also put a copy of it in down here at the bottom or right in here somewhere. Okay. It'll give you the URL to get to it on YouTube.
Yes.
That's a good question though. Anybody else? All right, you're free to go. I'll see you on Monday or at one of my office hours.
I'm sorry,
Thank
quick
you.
question. I was muted.
Go ahead, Matt.
Is it possible to maybe submit work to you like prior to the deadline in the week and have you review it and
No,
get back to us?
I'm not going to grade it twice. These are pretty simple. I mean, if you have an individual question, like you wrote the program and you're not getting the 11 point whatever. Okay. I might take a look at it. Okay. But I'm not going to grade your program before it's due. Let's put it that way. I don't want to, I'd have 100 people submitting their stuff to me saying, hey, can you look at this one? Can you run this one? If the program won't run, yeah, I'll take a look at it probably. How much advice I'm going to say, well, you made a major error in a certain line or something maybe. Okay. But
Perfect. Thank you.
you'll see how it works. I mean, I'm not being mean or anything, and I'm not trying to blow you off. Just do your best. I'm sure you'll do fine. Anybody else? Okay, I'll try and get this up as soon as I can. You guys have a great day.